The school looked ordinary from the outside: red brick walls, faded banners about kindness, and hallways echoing with laughter that didn't always mean joy. But for Amara, every morning felt like stepping into a battlefield she never chose. She was a quiet black girl with soft eyes and careful steps, the kind of student teachers described as well-behaved and classmates barely noticed, until they wanted someone to hurt. Amara sat in the second row near the window, where sunlight spilled across her desk but never warmed her heart. She spoke only when spoken to, not because she lacked confidence, but because she had learned early that silence was safer. Her notebooks were always neat, her homework always complete, yet her name was never called for praise. In a school where loudness meant power, quietness was mistaken for weakness. The bully noticed her from the first week. He laughed too loudly, shoved too easily, and thrived on attention. To him, Amara was an easy target: no friends rushing to her side, no parents dropping her off in luxury cars, no visible shield of protection. He mocked her hair, twisted cruel jokes about her skin color, and whispered insults just loud enough for her to hear but quiet enough to escape punishment. Each comment chipped away at her peace. What hurt more than the words was the silence around her. Classmates looked away. Some felt sorry but did nothing. Others laughed, grateful it wasn't them. Even teachers, overwhelmed and tired, missed the small moments, the way Amara flinched when someone walked too close, or how she stayed behind after class just to avoid the hallway. Yet beneath her silence lived resilience. At home, Amara had learned discipline, respect, and inner strength. She had been taught that dignity was louder than anger and that reacting wasn't always the same as winning. So she picked up her fallen books without complaint, wiped her tears before anyone could see, and kept walking. Every step through those halls tested her courage. Every insult forced her to choose patience over rage. The bully believed he was breaking her, but what he didn't know was that he was revealing his own weakness. Amara wasn't weak. She was waiting. And no one in that school had any idea who was standing behind her. For weeks, the bullying had lived in whispers, snide remarks, mocking laughter, casual shoves in the hallway. But cruelty rarely stays quiet forever. One ordinary afternoon, in a classroom filled with restless energy and ticking clocks, the bully decided whispers weren't enough. It started small. A foot stretched out as Amara walked past her desk. She stumbled, her books sliding across the floor, pages scattering like frightened birds. Laughter erupted, sharp, careless, and loud. The bully leaned back in his chair, enjoying the moment far too much. "Watch where you're going," he sneered, though everyone knew he'd caused it. Amara bent down slowly, her hands trembling as she gathered her books. Her heart pounded, not from fear alone, but from humiliation. She could feel eyes on her. Some curious. Some amused. Some pitying. No one moved to help. Then the bully stood up. He towered over her, blocking the light, his shadow falling across her desk like a warning. His words were crueler now, mocking her voice, her hair, her skin. He made a racist joke, loud enough for the entire class to hear. The room went silent, not because they disagreed, but because they were afraid. A teacher should have intervened. No one did. Amara froze. Every instinct screamed at her to react, to shout, to push back, to run. But instead, she remembered the words she'd been taught at home: your strength is not proven by how loud you are, but by how steady you remain. So she stayed still. She lifted her chin, her eyes shining, not with defeat, but with restraint. That calm enraged him. He grabbed her notebook and tossed it aside, laughing. "What are you gonna do about it?" he taunted. In that moment, he believed he was powerful. He believed she was alone. He believed there would be no consequences. What he didn't realize was that the line he crossed couldn't be erased. The bell rang, loud and jarring. Students rushed out, relieved the moment had ended, for them. Amara remained behind, her breath shallow, tears finally falling once the room was empty. The pain wasn't just in what was said or done, it was in the message sent loud and clear: your pain doesn't matter. But it did matter. A staff member later found her sitting quietly, clutching her bag like armor. The incident could no longer be ignored. Reports were written. Phone calls were made. And for the first time, the bully's laughter faded into uncertainty. Because the silence Amara carried wasn't weakness. It was the calm before the truth was revealed. To the world at school, Amara was just another quiet student, someone easy to overlook, easy to underestimate. But beyond those brick walls and cruel hallways, her life unfolded in a way no one could have imagined. Home was different. When Amara stepped through the front door each evening, the weight she carried at school slowly lifted. The house was filled with warmth, structure, and a sense of safety she never spoke about. Her father believed in routine, discipline, and most of all, character. He believed that true strength didn't come from showing off power, but from knowing when to use it. Her father was Vin Diesel. Not the action hero the world saw on movie screens. Not the global superstar surrounded by cameras and applause. But a devoted, protective father who had chosen her, legally, emotionally, and completely, as his daughter. Adoption had never been a secret in their home. What mattered wasn't blood, but loyalty, love, and responsibility. From a young age, Vin had taught Amara one rule above all others: never use my name as a shield. Your name doesn't make you strong, he once told her. Your choices do. So she never mentioned him. Not to friends. Not to teachers. Not even when the bullying started. She wore simple clothes, took the bus like everyone else, and lived quietly, by design. Fame stayed outside those walls. That night, after the incident at school, Vin noticed something was wrong immediately. Amara was quieter than usual. Her steps were slower. When she placed her bag down, her hands trembled just slightly. He didn't press her. He knew better. He waited until dinner, until the house felt calm. Then he asked gently, "Did someone forget who you are today?" The question broke the silence. Amara told him everything, not dramatically, not angrily, but honestly. The insults. The laughter. The moment no one stepped in. Vin listened without interruption, his jaw tightening not with rage, but with resolve. He didn't promise revenge. He didn't raise his voice. Instead, he said, "You did the right thing by holding yourself together. Now it's my turn to step in." The next morning, the school called requesting a meeting with her guardian. Amara calmly gave her father's name, without explanation, without emphasis. The staff member paused, confused, assuming it must be a coincidence. It wasn't. For the first time since the bullying began, Amara felt something shift, not because of fame, but because truth was about to walk through those school doors. And when it did, everything would change. The phone call came early the next morning. In the school's main office, a tired administrator dialed the number listed beside Amara's name. The incident report lay open on the desk, highlighted lines, formal language, and phrases like "unacceptable behavior" and "immediate concern." To them, this was just another disciplinary case. Another meeting. Another parent being summoned. They asked politely for Amara's guardian to come in. At school, word traveled fast, but never accurately. The bully strutted through the hallway with misplaced confidence, bragging quietly to his friends. "Probably some nobody," he scoffed. "Watch, nothing's gonna happen." His laughter echoed, masking a flicker of unease he refused to acknowledge. Amara sat silently in class, her hands folded neatly on her desk. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't afraid. She wasn't relieved either. She was calm. When the teacher informed her she'd be excused for part of the day due to a scheduled meeting, she nodded respectfully and gathered her things. No explanation. No drama. In the office, staff prepared for a routine conversation. They expected anger, tears, excuses. What they didn't expect was composure. When Amara said, "My father will be here shortly," the secretary paused. "Your father?" she asked carefully. "Yes," Amara replied. Nothing more. Minutes passed. Then the glass doors opened. Heavy footsteps echoed across the tiled floor, not rushed, not loud, but deliberate. Conversations softened. Heads turned. There was something unmistakable about the presence entering the room, quiet authority, grounded confidence, and a calm intensity that made people sit straighter without knowing why. Vin Diesel walked in. No entourage. No sunglasses. No celebrity performance. Just a father in a dark jacket, eyes focused, expression steady. The front desk froze. A teacher dropped her pen. Recognition hit the room like a wave, but no one spoke. He approached the desk calmly and said, "I'm here for my daughter." Silence. The bully, seated across the room with his parents, slowly looked up. His face drained of color. The smirk vanished. Reality settled in, not with shouting, not with threats, but with understanding. The girl he humiliated wasn't unprotected. She never had been. Vin placed a gentle hand on Amara's shoulder. She didn't look up. She didn't need to. The meeting hadn't even begun, but the power dynamic had already shifted. And for the first time, the school realized they had underestimated the quietest student in the building. The room felt smaller once everyone realized who was standing there. Whispers spread like electricity, but no one dared speak aloud. The name Vin Diesel didn't need to be announced, it hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. Teachers who had rushed through hallways now stood still. Administrators who spoke with authority moments ago suddenly chose their words carefully. Across the room, the bully sat frozen. His parents exchanged nervous glances. They had come prepared to defend their son, armed with excuses and denial. But none of that mattered now. The confidence he had carried all morning drained from his face, replaced with fear he couldn't hide. He avoided eye contact, staring at the floor as if it might open and swallow him whole. Vin Diesel took his seat calmly. No anger. No threats. No raised voice. When he spoke, it wasn't loud, but every word landed with weight. "I'm not here because of who I am," he said evenly. "I'm here because of who she is." He gestured gently toward Amara. "She's respectful. She's disciplined. And she's been taught to endure without becoming cruel herself." The room fell silent. Then the principal described the incident. The insults. The public humiliation. The failure to intervene. Vin listened without interruption, his expression unreadable. When asked if he wanted to add anything, he paused, just long enough to remind everyone that restraint is a choice. "My daughter didn't tell you who her father was," he said. That was intentional. Because protection shouldn't come from fame. It should come from fairness. The bully finally looked up. Their eyes met for the first time. There was no intimidation in Vin's gaze, only disappointment. And somehow, that hurt more. "You believed she was weak because she was quiet," Vin continued. "You believed she was alone because she didn't announce herself. That assumption is the real problem." The truth settled in slowly, painfully. This wasn't about celebrity. It was about character. And the bully had failed that test completely. Consequences followed, disciplinary action, mandatory counseling, and a written apology demanded by the school. But the most powerful moment wasn't the punishment. It was when Vin turned to Amara and said softly, "I'm proud of you." Her shoulders straightened. Not because of fame. Not because of revenge. But because dignity had finally been acknowledged. The bully would remember this day forever, not because he met a movie star, but because he learned what real strength looked like. And it didn't come with shouting or fists. It came with calm truth. The consequences came quietly, but they came firmly. The school acted swiftly once the truth could no longer be ignored. Reports were finalized. Witnesses were questioned. The bully was suspended and required to attend counseling focused on accountability, empathy, and racial sensitivity. An official apology was issued, not just to Amara, but to the entire school community for the failure to protect her sooner. But justice wasn't loud. It didn't come with applause or headlines. It came with change. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at school shifted. Teachers became more observant. Hallway whispers faded. Students who once looked away now offered small gestures, holding doors open, sharing notes, sitting beside Amara at lunch. Not out of fear. Out of respect. Amara returned to class with her head held high. She didn't walk differently. She didn't speak louder. She didn't suddenly become popular. What changed was subtler, and far more powerful. She no longer carried shame. The bully, on the other hand, carried something new. Accountability. For the first time, he had to confront the harm he caused without excuses or laughter to hide behind. His apology, delivered face-to-face, was shaky and imperfect, but real. Amara listened. She didn't smile. She didn't scold. She simply nodded and walked away. Forgiveness, she understood, didn't mean forgetting. It meant choosing peace. Vin Diesel never returned to the school after that meeting. He didn't need to. His presence had served its purpose. What mattered wasn't who he was, but what he had modeled: calm strength, moral clarity, and protection without arrogance. Before leaving that day, he shared one final message with the staff. Every child deserves safety, whether their last name is famous or forgotten. That sentence stayed. Weeks later, the school launched new anti-bullying programs, anonymous reporting systems, and cultural awareness workshops. It wasn't perfect. But it was progress. And Amara? She remained quiet. Kind. Focused. But no longer invisible. She had learned that silence doesn't mean weakness, and the school had learned that assumptions can be dangerous. The bully learned a lesson that would shape him long after graduation. And every student who witnessed the change learned something deeper. Never underestimate someone's strength just because they choose not to show it. Because sometimes, the strongest people are the ones who don't need to prove it at all.